Hi everyone, and welcome back to Jack and Cat Adventures. I thought today we'd go through making a full meal from start to finish. We're going to start out with asparagus and we're going to roast it in the oven. It's really simple. All you're going to do is take your asparagus and wherever it breaks off, you're just going to break it. It's really easy. People will tell you all different kinds of ways of cutting it or whatever. Just break it. Okay, now that I broke off the ends on this, I just put them on my pan. I do have non-stick foil on here. It makes it really easy to do. I wanted to point out, when you're looking for asparagus, you want to make sure it's green and that the tops are dry and very tight. If they're a little bit mushy on the tips, they're already bad. You'll have to throw them away. So let's get started, and we're going to just lightly drizzle olive oil, or any kind of oil you really like. I use olive oil, just a little bit, and then you're going to salt and pepper, and then you're going to take tongs and mix it together just so everything's coated nicely, and then you're going to try and get this in a single layer if possible. Now this is a pound of asparagus. Depending on how many people you have coming, you might need to do more. You don't want to overcrowd your baking sheets with this. If you have more, you might need to do 2 sheets. So it doesn't have to be perfect, just make sure most of them are down. And that will go into an oven at 425 degrees for about 10 minutes. 5 minutes in, kind of move them around with your tongs, put them back in. Now I like mine very fork tender. If you like yours a little bit more crisp, take them out sooner. Now we're going to move on to our potatoes. And I have back here a pan started. They're red potatoes, and we're just going to boil them until fork tender. So once you start seeing these boil, I would say about 15, it'll probably take about 15 minutes. So I'll check back with you when these start boiling, and I'll let you know exactly how long they took. So now we're going to start our mushrooms. I have sliced baby bellas here. You can use any kind you like. You're going to put some butter into the pan. About 2 tablespoons will be good. And we're going to get that warming up. And we're going to pour our mushrooms into this pan. Now, at this point, I don't add anything except that. I'm going to let this butter melt. I'm going to stir this around to get the butter all over these mushrooms. The mushrooms, once they start breaking down, once your butter starts to melt, let's start there, it'll be easier. Put a lid on this. Now you're going to want to watch it. Don't let it go on high. You want the mushrooms to become pliable. At that point, we will take the lid off. We will add garlic powder. That garlic powder will soak up all the juices in here. And then we will continue to keep flipping these mushrooms, and they're going to become a dark golden brown. The taste is out of this world, especially with filet. So I will bring you along step by step and show you so it won't be so difficult, okay? Alright, so here's our mushrooms, and I have to say, this is the everything pan we got at Aldi's, and it is fabulous. My mushrooms aren't as soft as like white button mushrooms would be, because these are a thicker mushroom, but that's fine. So what you're going to do is, once they start sucking up that oil and all the juices are released in it, what you're going to do, you're going to sprinkle it with garlic powder. And you're going to stir it around. And what this garlic powder does is it's kind of like a thickener. It takes away the grease, and what you're going to do is, I'm going to put a little bit more on because we like garlic. What you're going to do now is watch them really close on the stove. Put them out as much as you can into a single layer, and let them get brown on one side and then flip them. I will show you what the brown looks like. I know it's hard to tell on these because they are so brown, but I'll be able to tell you and show you how it's done. So as soon as that starts, I'll bring it back to you and show you what it looks like. Okay, so here's our mushrooms. As you can see, they're nice golden brown. They got a little bit of a crisp on them. That's what you want. That's perfectly done there. Alright, so here's our red potatoes that I boiled, and they are literally just fork tender. You don't want to overboil them because you're going to bake them in the oven for another 20 minutes. So what you're going to do is you're going to take any kind of oil you like. I have this flavoring oil, and it has oil and all the spices that you need for flavoring in it. You could use fresh parsley, some basil, or you can just use salt, pepper, and olive oil. It would be fine with that too. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of this down on our non-stick foil. And I'm just going to brush it around. You don't want a lot, but you want your potatoes to have a lot of flavor on the other side too. So what you're going to do is that. Now you want your oven preheated to 425 like I said before. And what you're going to do is you're going to put your potatoes out, and they're hot, so be careful. But you got to do this when they're warm or hot, or they won't mash good for you. And you can do as many or as little potatoes as you need. Okay. I have my masher here, and all you're going to do is push down. And you want them mashed pretty good. And kind of far apart on each other so that when they brown on their own sides. They're not touching another side. And I like these red potatoes because they boil quickly and they have a lot better flavor than other potatoes that, you know, are more like starchy or more earthy, I guess they would taste. These are really like they're buttery. Buttery in the mouth is, I guess, the only way I can tell you how they taste. And if you don't have a masher like this, just use a fork. And yes, they won't look pretty, but they will be delicious. Now that we have those mashed, we're going to just drizzle this on and brush it. I think you can find these oils next to oils in the grocery store, and I think they're called basting oils if you're looking for that or online. And they have all different flavors. Okay. Alright, now we're going to put these in an oven, 425 degrees, for 20 minutes. While you're doing that, we're also going to put in our asparagus at the same temperature. Alright, and I'm just going to set this for 20 minutes. Get started on our meat. So here I have 4 filet mignons. And what we're going to do is we're going to wrap 2 of them in bacon, and only 2 because I don't like bacon on my meat. So we're going to do it for Jack, who loves bacon on everything. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your filet and you're going to start on the outside, and you're just going to wrap your bacon around it like so. And you're just going to put a toothpick through it. So it holds that bacon on, just like that. You might need like 2 maybe. Just so it's held on, that's all. Okay. It's really easy. And if you guys don't like bacon, don't put it on. Or if you don't have it at home, don't run out and get it. You don't need it. Okay, so there's that. Now what we're going to do is, let me wash my hands real quick. Okay. And you're going to salt and pepper those. And if I didn't tell you before, these should be out at least 30 minutes before you're going to cook them so that they become room temperature, because these are quick sear, quick cook, which means if you're searing the outside and you put it in the oven and the insides are still cold, they will be cold when you go to eat it. You need them to be room temperature. You want to do both sides. Alrighty, there we go. Now they're ready to start getting cooked, and we'll get to that in a second. So here are our finished potatoes and asparagus. The potatoes took about 35 minutes. Keep checking yours. It depends on how much crispiness you like on yours. These look really crisp and good. And so now we're going to move on to our steaks. So what we're going to do is we're going to heat up this cast iron skillet pretty hot, because we're just going to sear the steaks. And we're going to finish them off in the oven. They don't take long. This is a very, very tender cut of beef, and you don't want to overdo it. If your people like well done, don't waste your money on this. This has to be rare to medium rare. Now, these are about 1.5 inches, between 1.5 inches and 2 inches thick. And you're going to sear them in a really hot pan on both sides, each side 2 minutes. But you're going to do it in a lot of butter. So we'll get there. Now, after you get your potatoes out, you want to lower your oven temp to 415 degrees. Now wait until your oven is to 415 degrees, because we had the potatoes at 425. That's way too hot to finish these steaks off. So take your time, let it come up to the temperature it's supposed to, and then I'll show you what else we're going to do. Now we're going to sear this, and as you hear it, it's hot. I just want to get the bacon cooked a little bit, because if you don't start your bacon like this, it's going to be raw because it doesn't cook long enough in the oven. So just kind of take your time and put it on. As soon as the bacon's done, that's when we're going to put the butter on and count our 2 minutes. Because this bacon is really protecting the meat from getting seared at this point on the inside, so it won't be done any faster than what we're going to do. And you really need a cast iron skillet to do this. I mean, you could do it in a fry pan, but the fry pans don't keep the heat. They don't get hot enough. You want to keep the heat on the meat. Now see, it's just slightly brown. That's all you want. Just enough to start the cooking process. And like I said, if you don't like the bacon, then just go ahead and, well, you would just throw yours on without the bacon. So your pan, and you want your pan hot. I can't stress that enough. Lots of butter. Lots of butter. Let that go in there, like that. And now you're going to put your pieces of meat on your skillet. And you're going to cook it on this side for 2 minutes. You want to keep that good butter underneath there. I like lots of butter. I think it adds so much flavor to this. And while you're waiting on your 2 minutes, you do not want to touch them. You want that crispy sear on them. That's going to lock in all your flavors, your juices. That sear is what's going to keep these delicious. And it could seem like 2 minutes on each side, feels like forever, but then it's only 3 minutes in the oven if you like it rare. Medium rare is 4 to 5 minutes in the oven. Do not turn them all the way in the oven, just let it go. So now we have the sear on them. That's exactly what you want them to look like. Let's set the timer for 2 more minutes. I'm just going to turn my stove off now because that burner's hot. It'll stay hot. We're going to stick this in the oven. Now remember, this pan is very, very hot. You want to use a towel. And we're going to stick it in the oven, just like this, for 3 minutes. 3 minutes for rare. So now our meat's done, and as soon as your timer is up on your meat, pull it out, take it off the pan, put it on a plate, and cover it for 5 minutes with foil. You need to let the meat rest. All those juices that were coming out will go back into your meat, and it'll be delicious. I also like to serve on the meat itself is Bernaise sauce, and it's by Knorr, and it's over by the gravies, and you need to try it. It's really good. Just follow the directions on the back. It's really easy. So here's our finished product. I just put a little Bernaise on the top of this. Please try this recipe and let me know how it came out, how you liked it. Please like, share, comment, and remember, you do you.